Hey YouTube, it's my first video. I'm a little nervous because this topic is like very serious. It has to do with like different dreams and visions that God has given me over the past couple of years, and they basically got like intensified over the past year. Um, and I've done a lot of research. I've watched a lot of like YouTube testimonies and near-death experiences and other people who's had rapture dreams, and I'm basically here to basically discuss all these dreams that I've had and all this research that I've done that led up to me having this horrifying rapture dream. It was horrifying. Like it was bad. So I'm gonna like I basically like if I'm looking down, I wrote all of my dreams, all of my visions, everything. Like I've written it down. It's on like 4 pages, front and back. So just bear with me. Like I said, I don't do YouTube. This is my first video and most likely my only video. Like I'm not really into social media like that. Okay, so the first dream I've had, it wasn't really like a rapture dream, or like it was just basically this was just basically one of the first dreams I've had, and this happened like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was basically being like guided through this apartment building, or like this condo. The condo was like beautiful. It was like really beautiful. It had beautiful countertops. The view was like beautiful. It was like walls of windows. It was like really beautiful, and it was almost as if I was like being shown this place, because it was like I was like given a tour of it like in the dream, because I kept saying to myself in the dream like, wow, like this is my place, like this is really mine, like this is mine. So I as I'm like being guided and like given a tour of this place, I went on the balcony, and when I went on the balcony, it was like really beautiful. Like the view was beautiful. Like I felt like I was like in Los Angeles or Southern California somewhere, because it was like palm trees. The street was lined with palm trees. It was like mountains or the hills or whatever. And there were like billboards everywhere. So it almost kind of looked like Hollywood, like as if I like had this beautiful place in Hollywood, California. So there were billboards like scattered all around, but there was this one billboard that like stuck out to me, and the billboard basically had 3 numbers on it, and the 3 numbers were 909. And I don't know, like I didn't know the like what 909 was, and the dream ended. So when I woke up from the dream, I said to myself, I was like, I felt like I was being shown this place, and I just remembered the numbers 909. This is what started all this stuff, like signs and all that stuff. So I was like, I felt like I was in California, but I don't know what 909 is. Like, I don't know what 909 is. So I Googled 909, and I was shocked because it was an actual, like, it was an actual, sorry, it was actual, like, it was an actual California area code. So I was like, but I wonder what is the significance of 909? Like, mind you, this is like 3 years ago. But I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, am I gonna move to that area? Like that area? Like it's it's like outside of LA, like the desert part. So I was like, I don't know. I was just like, we'll see. I don't know. So that was just the first dream. Where I don't know if these videos, like someone in that area basically is gonna watch this video and get confirmation from all these dreams and visions that I'm gonna go over momentarily. Trust me, I will. Okay, but okay, let's get into it. Okay, so the first dream I had was, like I said, I'm looking down in my notes. The first dream that I had was I don't know where I was. I don't know what I was doing, but I was just out minding my own business. And out of nowhere, this man just walks up to me. And he didn't introduce himself. He didn't ask me how my day was. He just started talking. And I just looked up at him and he just started talking. He told me a couple of things like about myself, like as far as like goals or things that I want, like specific things that I want in life. And I was sitting there confused because I was just like, how does this man know? First of all, how does this man know me? How does he know what I want in life? How does he like? It's like he knew me. Like he just walked up, like he just knew me. He knew me. He knew everything about. He just knew me, and I didn't. I was just listening, confused, and I never moved my mouth. I was just looking like. But I was thinking in my mind, like, how does this man know who I am? Like I'm lost. And he basically told me like, you're gonna have everything you want in life. Um, he said you're gonna have everything you. He said you're gonna have everything you want. Just finish school is what he told me. He said I know you want to get this. I know you want to have this. I know. I feel like the dream went into further detail, but all I can remember from that dream was I know you want this and this. He told me two specific things that I want in life, and he was like, I know you want this and this. He said you're gonna have everything you want. Just finish school. And I woke up from the dream. But when I woke up from the dream, I said to myself, I was like, I felt like I was talking to God. I felt like God was talking to me. And I lay there, and I'm thinking like, how was God talking to me? But he didn't have on all white. He just looked like a normal person. Like he had on regular clothes. And I'm just thinking like, I was confused at that dream. Mind you, I had this dream like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I believe. Like 2 or 3 years ago. So as I'm laying there for like 5 minutes, I'm just thinking like, who did this man look like? He looked like someone. Like, who did he look like? Like I just kept like scrambling my brain. Like, who did he look like? Who did he look like? Who did he look like? And it came to me. I was like, he looked like Morgan Freeman. And I was laying there like, why in the world would God look like Morgan Freeman or whoever this man was that I felt like was God or maybe Jesus? I don't know. Why would he look like Morgan Freeman out of all people? Like, I was like confused. I'm like, I'm not understanding. I was just like, okay. So Google is my best friend, people. I love me some Google. So I Googled it. I Googled Morgan Freeman God. And what came back kind of like made my mouth drop. It said Morgan Freeman is the voice of God. And at that point, like I never really like paid attention to like the Morgan Freeman. Like I know he does some show called The Story of God, and he played God in a few movies, but I never even watched those movies, or I never even watched the documentaries. Like I never knew anything about him playing the voice of anything. So when I put two and two together, and I'm like, okay, I just was like, oh wow. So that was that. But as far as the Morgan Freeman goes, and what led me to make this video, because like I said, I'm nervous about making this video. I got my final confirmation as far as that Morgan Freeman dream, only because I recently, like 2 or 3 days ago, I watched another young lady. She had a rapture dream. And she said in the rapture dream that like everyone was being raptured up, but she was trying to get home to like her kids and her husband. And she was like fighting against like being raptured up, or like just fighting it. And out of nowhere, she said this man walked up to her, and no, she said that in the dream, like when her rapture dream, like a lot of chaos was going on, and all of a sudden books popped up in her hand, like textbooks, school books. She looked down and she was like, I have books in my hand. And she said out of nowhere, this guy walked up to her, and he said to her like, oh, looks like you had a lot of work to do. And she said she looked down at her textbook and was like, yeah, I guess I did. And she basically said that when she said that, she was like, if I had to describe what this man looks like, she was like, he looked like Morgan Freeman. She was like, it wasn't Morgan Freeman, but if I had to describe him, he looked like Morgan Freeman. And at that point, I knew I had to make this video because that was like one of the first videos I've had that like started these bizarre dreams that I've been just having over the past year. It basically gave me my confirmation. And and she just felt like, you know, he told her, like, you know, looks like he had a lot to do, but he was like, it's okay, you can let go. Like, and she was just basically saying in the video to her, you have so much to do, like whether it's finish school, whether it's, you know, take care of your kids, or just so many things that you just feel like you have to do in life. But he was basically telling her, it's okay, it's okay. And as far as like him telling me to finish school, and like I said, when she had the school books pop up in her hand, I really feel like him telling me finish school means he's going to give me all these dreams over the next couple of years, and I just have to piece it all together. I have to do my research, and I have to basically make this video to help or bless whoever watches this video, because all of these dreams I had led up to this one horrifying rapture dream that I had. I had it on the 23rd of September 2019, and today is September 26th 2019. So I had that dream 3 nights ago, and I just was like, ever since then I've been shaken up. Like right now, I don't know if you can, like, I'm still like, it was just too much. Okay, so anyway, that was my Morgan Freeman dream. That was that. So that was my first like thing that I put two and two. Like the first dream I had, I put the 909 together. Like in the dream it was 909, and I googled it, and that's actually California. So I was like, okay. Then his next dream, the next one with the Morgan Freeman, I got confirmation because the young lady said that he looked like Morgan Freeman, and he spoke of like school and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm not crazy. Like the Morgan Freeman stuff is like look person in these dreams. Okay, but anyhow, so after that, about a year ago is when like these dreams like kind of started. Like, okay, so the first dream was sorry, I'm reading my notes. Oh, right. Okay, so the first dream was I was standing in the open field, and also I had confirmation on this one also, but let me get to it. Okay, so the first dream I had, I was standing in the open field. It was like, I don't know if I was like in a park district. It was like a football field. I don't know, but it was like a open field, and it was nighttime. The stars were out. It was a beautiful night, beautiful sky. So I'm standing in like this open field looking at the sky. And in the dream, I'm like consciously thinking like, why am I staring at the sky? Like, what is the significance with the sky? So I look like to my right, and I see this rocket like going in the air, but it was going like slow. It was shooting up in the air like this huge rocket. And I said to myself, like, is that a rocket? Like, okay. So it was going up in the air, and I'm just looking at it like go in the air. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it just exploded. But when it exploded into this beautiful gold light, like almost as if fireworks were like falling from the sky, or like it was raining gold. Like just think of it snowing or raining, but it's gold. It was like the color of, it was gold. It was like just coming down and down and down and down and down. Like it was everywhere, just gold, just falling from the sky, like this gold light just falling and falling like rain or like snow, but gold just falling. It like all over me. And in the dream, my family was there, and we were in this open field, and the light was just all over me and my family. And I was just like, do you see how beautiful this is? I was like, this is so beautiful. Like, do you see? I was telling them, like, do you see this? And they were like, yeah, we see it. This is beautiful. So I was just like, oh my God, like, this is so beautiful. Like, this is amazing. Like, this gold, like, this is the most beautiful thing I ever saw. This gold was just everywhere. So, and it was falling all over me, but only one touched me. Like, one touched me on my arm, like I felt it. I don't know if that's guardian angel or I have no idea, but I know one touched me. And then I woke up from that dream. And later, as far as that goes, I did a lot of research and like I watched a lot of videos on YouTube. And there was this one pastor who said that he had the same dream where he was standing in an open field at night, looking at the sky. And I forgot what else he said, but he basically explained that that gold that you saw that looked like stars or whatever. He said stars, but it looked like just gold rain, or it just was gold falling from the sky. He said those were angelic beings or angels. So that's why I said my guardian angel. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe a past loved one that passed away. I don't know, but that was that. And my next one was, like I said, I have notes, so bear with me. All right. Okay, so the next dream I had after that, like this was all like within like a couple of months. Like the next dream I had was like 2 or 3 months later. This was a quick dream, and I didn't know. I just thought that this dream had no significance, or it just was a stupid dream, until I got confirmation. Like every dream I've had that I'm telling you people, I've had confirmation on every freaking dream. So this dream, I was in my kitchen peeking through the blinds, and it was nighttime, and I as I'm standing in the kitchen, I'm looking like at the sky, at the moon. It was a full moon. And in the dream, I'm just staring at the moon. Like I'm staring at the moon, but I'm still thinking in my mind, like I'm thinking to myself, why am I staring at the moon? Like, okay, I'm looking at the moon. Like, why am I looking at the moon? Like, why am I staring at the moon? Like it was like I was supposed to be staring at the moon, but I was just thinking to myself, why am I looking at the moon? Like, okay, it's the moon. So I walk out the kitchen, and I walk in the living room, and the moon was floating in the middle of the floor, and I was just standing there in shock, like, how is the moon floating in the house? Like I was just looking at it in the sky, and I walked in the living room, and it's floating in the floor. And I just stood there. And I woke up from the dream, and I kind of brushed it off, like, what in the world? Like, I just was like, that's not even possible. Like, the moon being in your home, like, that. I'm like, that's not even possible. Like, I just was like, I'm losing it. I was like, I don't know. That was just a crazy dream. However, a couple of months after that dream, a friend of mine was telling me, like he was telling me about his mom. Like he was just giving me like a story on his mom. Like we've never discussed his mom. We've never discussed anything, but he was just telling me about his mom. And he was like, you know, my mom, she had a car accident, and a semi truck, like I think he said, ran on top of her car and like crushed her. And she died for like 6 minutes. And he said she lived, but when she came back after those 6 minutes, for like 3 or 4 years, she was living in her near-death experience. Like when she came back from her, like when she woke up out of that coma or whatever she was in, she just was acting crazy. She was like, Jesus is coming, blah, 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 blah. Like over the past 4 years, over a 4-year time period. And he said he was like 13 at that time. And him and his sister were like 12 or 13, and they just didn't know what to do. She was just losing her mind. She was stuck in a near-death experience. And he told me like every day after school they would come home, and she would like draw red crosses on their forehead and just would like make them pray all day long. Just make them pray all day long. Just all they did was pray. And he said she was just acting so bizarre for 4 years. And one day, and I asked him, I said, well, how did all that end? Like, is she normal now? He was like, yeah, she's normal now. And I'm like, so how did she become, like, how did she snap out of it? He was like, basically one day she came home from wherever she was at, and she ran in the house like, the moon is in the house, the moon is in the house, the moon is in the house. Jesus is coming, Jesus is coming. The moon is in the house, pray, pray, pray. Like, she was just going crazy. And they, mind you, them being 12 or 13, they were like, what are you talking about? The moon is in the house. So as he's telling me this story with the moon being in the house, I'm sitting there in shock, quiet. And he was like, why are you quiet? And I was like, I had the same dream with the moon floating in my living room floor. Like the moon was in my home. He was just like, oh, I thought she was just crazy. I thought she was just losing her mind. But I was like, no, I had the same dream. And he was just like, oh, okay. So I was just like, okay. So that was one of them. And all right, okay. So yeah, and the next dream I had was a few months after that moon dream. So I, the next dream I had was, of course, again, me looking at the sky. Every dream I've had has been something with the sky, whether it's different colors, just always something with the sky. Okay, so this other dream that I had, I was in the backyard of my home, and something with the sky was weird that day. The sky was just weird. It was a weird color. It was just something was. It wasn't red. It was, I don't know. It was just weird. It was a weird. It was a color that's just not normal for the sky. And everyone that day were just like, "What is going on with the sky?" Like we just kept looking at it, like, "What in the world?" It was like daytime. We were just like, "I don't know." So, in the dream, next thing I know, like I said, I was with a couple of my family members. Next thing I know, we went to the front of our home, like the front yard, and we're looking at the sky again. But this time we're looking at the sky, and it's this huge plane going across, like over us. It wasn't like going up into the sky like how a plane takes off. It was like flying, hovering over us. And it was going super slow. And the plane was humongous. And it was going super slow. And we were just looking like, why is this plane going so slow? So next thing we know, the plane just nosedives into the ground and causes this huge explosion. I don't know if it was bombs on this plane. I do not know, but it basically crumbled the world. This huge plane, like the world was basically ended on purpose. So when it did hit the ground, I was like, oh my God. Because in the distance, I can see like everything crumbling. I could see like the city crumbling, and it was just like rushing at me. Everything was like turning into dust and just crumbling. It was like rushing at me. And I was just like, oh my God. So my family member, she took off running one direction, and the dust, it was so fast, like it caught up to her, and she just turned into dust and disintegrated. And it was catching up to me right after, and I was just like, oh my God. And I was like, this is it. And I was like, and I just closed my eyes. I was like, it's time to go to heaven. And I closed my eyes, and I felt my body like disintegrate, or just, I took my last breath and just exhaled, and I just felt my body like turn into dust. Like, and I woke up from that dream. And I woke up like, what in the world? So that was that dream. And the next topic that really, it's not a dream, but I came across something recently, like maybe a month ago, some guy named Boris, or Boriska, Briska, Boris with a Ka, and his last name starts with a K, Kilpatrick or something. I don't, actually it's not Kilpatrick. I don't know. It's just Boris, but Google Boris, and Boris men says he's born on Mars or something along those lines. Boris and born on Mars. He basically issued a warning like a couple of months ago to all mankind that he basically was reincarnated on Earth, and he's basically here to give us a warning of um, total destruction coming our way. And the story may sound bizarre, or he's like BS, but all these dreams and visions, all these videos, and this guy is telling the truth. Just basically do yourself a favor and Google Boris, the guy that says he's born on Mars. There's several different stories, but read these stories. Just read those Boris stories. Just trust me. Um, and also another incident recently in Indonesia, like last week. The sky was blood red in Indonesia. Like, it was just blood red. Google blood red skies in Indonesia. Like, it was like a week ago. Like, mind you, it's September 25th. No, well, no, today is September 26th and 2019. So like a week ago in Indonesia, the sky was red, blood red. Google blood red skies in Indonesia. Also, this past like 2 weeks ago, the moon was red, or like an orange reddish color, like the harvest moon. So the moon being red, the sky being red, these dreams I'm having, like it's just making me think like, okay, there's a lot of events going on. Like, okay, yeah, I feel like Jesus is coming. So what else? So that was that. Oh Lord. Okay, so I came across. Okay, I came to the page of my rapture dream. Okay. Okay. I'm still shaking up over this rapture dream. I had this dream 3 nights ago, like I said, and it was horrifying. So the dream basically started with me. I was in Costa Rica. I've never been to Costa Rica. I've never been to Costa Rica a day in my life. So, but I was in Costa Rica in this dream, and I'm guessing I was on family vacation because I later in that dream seen a couple of family members. So in this dream, I was just at the pool. It was a sunny, clear day. The weather was beautiful. Just beautiful day at the pool, just living it up, you know? So in the dream, in my mind, like when the dream first started, I was excited to be in Costa Rica because I was like, it's so cold back home. I was like, it is like super cold. I'm like, it's super cold. And I'm just excited to be here. I was like, yes, woo, we escaped the cold, goodness. So that was that. So the dream went to, I guess I was at a hotel, like, you know, I'm on vacation. So in the hotel was like a tall hotel. So I'm standing in like the hallway, right? It was like a hallway and then like a room full of people. Like it was a hallway and then that hallway led to like this big room, like that was full of people. So I'm standing in the hallway and all of a sudden it was a little like a kind of a commotion in that big room, like that, you know, it was because it was a room full of people and it was like a kind of a commotion and everybody like started to like rush and run in front of the window and was like, oh my God, look. And I'm like, what are they looking at? Like, why are they all running to the window? So I like, you know, I'm like, let me go see. Let me go be nosy. So let me go see what they're talking about. So they all crowded in front of the window, but it was like a wall of windows. So they crowded in front of like the first windows, like so I couldn't see out. So I had to like kind of like walk down to the other windows. And when I got down to the other windows, I seen a family member of mine, and I was like, oh, like I was shocked, like, oh, what are you doing here? And I was thinking to myself, like, am I on family vacation or like what is like, are we on family vacation? Like, okay, we're into Costa Rica, okay. So, but that only lasted a couple of seconds because it's like when I was walking to the window and it's just like I seen her in front of the window, and I was like, oh. But what I seen after that shocked me more than me seeing her. Like I didn't even get a chance to look on the ground because everybody was like, look on the ground. They was talking about something on the ground. I didn't even get a chance to look at the ground because as I walked up to the window, quite naturally I was on a high floor, so I'm like looking at the sky. I didn't get a chance to look down, so I'm looking at the sky. So as I walked up to the window, as I walked up to the window, I seen humongous arms and hands praying in the clouds. Like I don't know if they were the shape of a cloud, but they were like two huge arms and two huge hands praying, floating in the sky. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, Jesus is coming. I was like, it is time. And I snatched her, like, and I just grabbed her and I just started praying and praying. Like, this is my family member just standing next to me. Mind you, they're still talking about the freaking ground or what's going on the ground. And I'm focusing on this freaking sky, like these humongous praying hands. They didn't even see that. They were so busy looking at the chaos on the ground. So I snatched her and I just started praying and praying and praying and praying and praying and praying and praying. So I get up. Well, after I get done like praying, like I look at, like I open my eyes and look at the sky again, and those, I was like, they were like, what's going on? Why are you praying so? Like, what's going on? I'm like, you don't see those praying hands? So once I opened my eyes, they were like, what praying hands? And I looked back in the sky and the praying hands were gone. Like, it was gone. There were no more praying hands. Like, it was praying was over. Like, I mean, praying wasn't over, but that sign was gone. Like, the next thing I know, the sky started to form black clouds after that. Like, those praying hands started to form like dark black clouds, and it started to like crackle, like that's the sound it was making, but it was like loud and intense, like that crackling noise, just crackling, the most intense crackling that you can hear right before like a loud thunder. So as it's crackling and it's starting to form black clouds, I stand up and look further out into the distance, and I seen like this thick blackness just coming, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God. So I turned around and I seen another family member, and I was shocked to see her also, like, oh, you're here too? But so much was going on. She was like, what's going on? I didn't even have a chance. I was like, listen, girl, like, give me a minute. I'm going to tell you what's going on in a minute. I was like, let me call my mom, because my mom wasn't with me. I was like, I got to go call my mom. So I was like, I'll be right back. Let me just go call my mom right quick and tell her to pray, and just pray, because this is like intense. So I run in like that back in that hallway to call her. And before I could even reach in my pocket to call her, I heard this loud siren or trumpet. Now I know it's a trumpet, but it sounded like a siren. And it sounded like, woo. And it's like my body froze. Once that sound like went off, my body froze in place. And I just felt it going throughout my body. I felt it just going throughout my body. And I was like froze. And I'm like, what is going on? So I was frozen in place for just a couple of seconds. And all of a sudden, my body just started to lift off the ground. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm floating. But I was relieved, because I'm like, I know when you rapture up, like you float. And I was like, this is a good sign. This is good. I'm not going to be left behind. Like, Lord, I was just so relieved, because what I saw going on, it was just ridiculous. So as I'm floating up to the ceiling, I'm thinking to myself, like, am I going to float through the ceiling or what? So I get to the ceiling, and I didn't float through the ceilings, but I'm like, okay. So I was on top of the ceiling, but I'm looking directly down, directly on the ground, like, in the hallway. And once I hit the ceiling, next thing I knew, like, soon as I hit the ceiling, like, these freaking zombies ran in, like dead people, but they were like evil dead people. Like, it was so fast. They ran in there. So it was so, like, soon as I like started to rapture up and hit the ceiling, like, they ran, bum rushed the room. And I'm like, where in the world, where did they come from? He like ran under me and ran into that room. I don't know if half of the room were being raptured up and the other half were being left behind. So he was in there ready to get who's ever up in there. Like, I couldn't see that far down. I tried to like pick my head up and like see where he was running, like what was going on in that room, but I couldn't see. But once I picked my head up, because like I said, mind you, I'm looking down the whole time on the ceiling floating. Once I picked my head up, I see what the environment became. It was like, I almost had a heart attack. I was like, oh my God. Mind you, the whole time I'm floating on the ceiling, I'm hearing this loud noise in my ear. And what I seen the environment become was straight evil. It was like the room became smoky. The light wasn't just regular light. Like the light, it wasn't regular light. The light, because I could see it, but it was almost like Twilight Zone. Like it was like Twilight Zone. Like, I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone, and all of this is going on, and I'm just thinking like, oh my God. So he runs in, and right after him, he runs in. I'm still on the ceiling floating, looking down like, oh my God. I'm looking all around me like, oh my God. So another zombie she walks in. She didn't run. She just walked. And she like walked under me, and I'm looking down like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. So she walked, and she got to like the between the hallway and that big room. But she stood there, and she turned her body and looked me dead in my eyes with the most evil look you can give a person. It was pure evil. I almost had a heart attack. Like, she gave me the most evil look you can give a person. She just turned her head and just was standing there with the most evil look. And I just started praying intensely, like, Lord, please, Jesus, get me out of here. Please, please do not let me float back on this floor. And as I started praying, I started to like float backwards. I was on the ceiling, but I started to like float out of there. And she stared me down the whole time I floated out of there. She stared me down the whole time. And I was about to have a heart attack. Oh my God. And after that, I woke up. And I literally felt like I was about to have a heart attack. I literally cried because I laid there and cried because it felt real. It felt like it was real. Like in the dream, I was conscious. I was like, this is happening right now. And as I'm floating, I was happy that I was floating to heaven. But what I saw, how fast, like soon as that siren went off and you start to rap, it was like evil instant. Like the environment shifted. It went from the world we know to it instantly just straight went evil, just evil. Oh my God. And yeah, basically you just have to pray. Just pray, and just repent. Like when all that stuff starts, just all those events kick in. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but like I said, my dreams have been spot on thus far. And as far as like that crackling noise, there's another lady on YouTube who said the same thing, like this crackling. And I knew exactly what she was talking about. And she said the noise is like in your ear, it's just in your body, like it's just in you. So, and this is a dream I had like 3 nights ago. And I don't know if, and I know they say that, and also on YouTube, I seen a video like yesterday or today, and it said like, she's like a prophet or whatever, and she basically said like deadly winter. God kept giving her a vision, deadly winter, deadly winter, deadly winter, deadly winter. And like I said, in the dream, I was in Costa Rica and I was excited to leave the cold. And that's when the rapture happened, like when I was in Costa Rica, like excited to not be in the cold and back where I'm from. So just today or yesterday, the lady was saying like deadly winter. So I don't know if the rapture is happening like this winter, next winter, because they said we'll know the season, but we won't know the date. But all I can say is just pray, and repent, because what I seen, I literally seen the world become hell, and like nothing mattered at that point. Like what kind of car you have, what kind of house you have, how much money, like nothing mattered. Like nothing, literally, it just didn't matter. Like nothing mattered. Nothing mattered other than praying, and you better pray that God gets you like helps you like rapture up. Like that's the only thing you want to pray, like that God is gonna like have mercy on your soul. And that's why I feel like I have to like tell this video, and I feel like you don't want to get left behind. And like I said, it was like being in the twilight zone. That's the closest thing that I can like, refer, like it was like being in the twilight zone.